8 o'clock on this Wednesday morning, May 28th. Thanks for joining us on ARC Rochester. I'm Abby Friedman.
And I'm Dan Schrack. We have a jam-packed 2 full hours to get through this Wednesday morning, so let's run down what we have brewing for you this morning.
All right, some local teens are reaching for the stars. Literally. This morning, we're learning more about how some students from the Harley School were tasked by NASA to build some out-of-this-world design.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
And what a resume builder.
Honestly, though.
Like,
yeah.
What did you do in high school?
Oh.
Worked for NASA.
Yeah, no big deal.
Nothing. Did you like that?
That was good. It was good. I thought,
that how the kids use it?
I don't know, maybe. I think you have to do both if you're going to do it.
Okay. And speaking of space, later this morning we're going to be joined by our NASA correspondent, Tony Rice, for this morning's space news. Today we're going to be chatting about the 2 Voyager spacecraft missions.
And then later, Aggie Doon will be stopping by to promote some of her upcoming shows. We're going to take a closer look at where she's heading next and how you can see her.
But before all of that, we do want to get a check of some of our top local headlines. Stephanie Joseph now with your Wednesday morning news break.
Well, good morning there, guys. We begin with the Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office investigating after a body was found in the city's Edgerton neighborhood. Police say the man was found just after 11 behind a business on Lake Avenue near Driving Park. Investigators are calling it an unattended death, and the victim's identity has not been released. Anyone with information should call 911. In Wayne County, 911 dispatchers sprang into action to save one of their own. On Monday night, a longtime dispatcher went into cardiac arrest while on the job. Immediately, her coworkers safely lowered her to the floor, began CPR, grabbed a defibrillator, and called for EMS. Her pulse started again, and the team was able to comfort her, all while keeping the 911 center up and running. The dispatcher was airlifted to Rochester General Hospital. We're told she's now responding well and recovering. A man accused of setting his wife on fire and disappearing for years is expected to spend more than a decade behind bars. David Johnson has pleaded guilty to first-degree assault in court Tuesday. Prosecutors say Johnson attacked his wife inside their Rochester home in 2019, pouring flammable liquid on her before setting her on fire. Johnson then fled the country and was living under a fake name in Uganda when authorities finally caught up with him. The victim survived with third-degree burns, but didn't want to relive the trauma through a trial, which helped lead to the plea deal. Johnson is scheduled to be sentenced to 12 years in July. And a reminder that if you or someone you know is impacted by domestic violence, there are resources available. The Willow Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24 hours a day. That number right there on your screen, 222-SAFE or 222-7233. A woman is facing charges after an altercation at the Penfield Central School District office. Deputies say 54-year-old Stacy Decker became irate Tuesday morning and allegedly pushed a school employee. She's now charged with harassment and was released with an appearance ticket. Happening today, city residents will have the opportunity to learn more about Rochester's 2025-26 budget proposal. Today begins 3 straight days of discussion surrounding Mayor Malik Evans' $681 million spending plan. Details include a proposal to reduce repeat youth offenders with a re-entry program and a police response team focused on non-urgent 911 calls. Now it's happening from now until 4:45 this afternoon inside council chambers at City Hall. It will also be streamed on City Council's YouTube and Facebook pages. The council will then vote on the final budget at their meeting on June 17th. For all these top stories and any updates, be sure to visit 13wham.com. Back to you.
All right, Steph, thank you. We'll switch gears now and get a quick check of our Wednesday forecast. We're going to see some rain showers out there, but not early on. It's going to be later in the day.
Yeah, it's a break from all that sunshine and warmth we've had to deal with the past 2 days. Meteorologist Marty Snyder joins us now with a look at how long this rain is going to stick around. And there might be something in store for next week, Marty?
Oh, yeah. Some better news for next week, and even better than what we have seen. We saw that little bit of improvement a few days ago, but we're going to see even more of an improvement going forward into next week. But today, for the short term, it's a story where we're seeing some rain build into New York State, but notice how a lot of it's mainly just the west western southern tier that's picking up a couple of those showers at this point. Not much near Rochester quite yet, but all this activity is down into Pennsylvania that will lift northward and really fill in as we head forward throughout the day. So bottom line, enjoy into the sunshine that we see initially. It's not going to last all day. We're going to see clouds build for 68 as we head towards noon, and then through the afternoon, numbers actually pull back a little bit, just given the fact that the clouds will build in, some showers build in. That may cause those numbers to drop a little earlier in the day than the normal timeline that we usually expect to play out. Tomorrow, maybe a little isolated shower here or there, but a much lower risk of rain then. We'll get up to about 68 for that high as well. 70 on Friday. We pull back into the near 60 and lower 60s range for the weekend, but notice next week, that's a little bit of an increase there. Monday and Tuesday, we rise through the 70s. 80s, not out of the question as we head deeper into next week. So, Dan, yeah, there is some much better news as we head into next week. We'll finally warm things up, and probably even more so than that last warmer spell that we just saw.
How do we celebrate? I know we always, listen, I get it. I say it all the time. How are we celebrating? But think of it, like we've waited now for this 80 degrees for a substantial amount of time.
Yeah.
We've got to do something.
Yeah. We always say party in the parking lot. It never happens.
It never happens.
We don't get the funding for it, which is fine, I guess.
Let's put in a garden.
Let's put in a, you know what? Mark says let's put in a garden. I
agree.
I'm sure
Mark
others would too.
Yeah, Mark's got jokes.
Yikes.
All right, Marty, thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Sure.
Let's go off the top now and start with some of the stories that have piqued our interest this morning. I'm going to kick things off. So last night, Elon Musk and SpaceX got a lot closer to Mars and at the same time, a lot farther from the perfect launch. So the Starship, it's that 400-foot tall rocket that's designed to one day take humans to the moon and eventually to Mars, took off from South Texas under the power of 33 engines. Here it goes. Ready? Now, 4, 3. You can see the countdown.
Oh, yeah.
2, 1. And we have ignition and liftoff. Look at that. And at first, it was flawless. A clean liftoff, a successful booster separation, a major milestone for the vehicle. But once it was in orbit, that's when the flaws started to show. The Starship was supposed to release 8 test satellites, but instead a side hatch jammed and the payload never deployed. Then a leak in the ship's fuel tank caused what SpaceX called a loss of attitude control, which is just a technical way of saying the world's most powerful rocket started spinning out of control until it finally broke apart over the Indian Ocean. Here's the wild part, though. This was all still a success because for the first time, SpaceX got a Starship into space using a recycled booster, and it flew further than any Starship before. They didn't attempt to catch the booster like they have in the past using those giant chopstick arms. You probably remember seeing that famous video. The plan was to let it splash down, but it didn't do that either. It broke apart on re-entry. But even that is a data point, a step forward, and that's kind of what this whole thing is about. So the fact that it made it into orbit at all after 2 earlier flights ended in explosions spectacularly, it enough is to call this a win for SpaceX. So no, they're not headed to Mars tomorrow. But last night definitely moved that needle, and we might be going soon.
That'd be pretty cool if we could get there sooner rather than later.
And I know you said you're not going to Mars.
No.
You're not signing up for that mission. Would you go to the moon?
No, I'm not leaving this planet, Daniel.
Really?
Yeah. Feet firmly on planet Earth is where I'm happy. Listen, if for some reason we need to evacuate the planet and we're all headed to Mars, I really have no interest in going. I really don't.
Why?
Because I get so motion sick.
Oh, Dramamine, and it's a long mission. By then, we'll have the technology to put you in like one of those
I'm gonna be old,
hypersleep chambers, and no, it stops the aging process. You'll look this way forever.
Okay. Still, no, I have no interest.
Hard pass.
Listen, I think it's awesome. I think it's so great. Space exploration, really, really interesting. I just would never want to go.
They say it's the final frontier, Abigail.
Well, until we discover the next thing, right?
Yeah.
What's going on in the ocean? That's what I want to know.
Ooh, that is a good
happening down there?
question. One that many people are still asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should explore that a little further, too.
No, that one is the one that scares me.
Really?
Yeah, no,
Whole bunch of stuff living in there.
Yeah, and that's my issue.
Yeah.
That's my issue. It's so close to us, and we know nothing.
Kind of cool, though, when you think about it.
Space is better.
Yeah. All right, so we got to move on to my story now, and we'll stick with what's going on above our heads. If you're headed to the Big Apple over the next few weeks, you may get a glimpse of something that is pretty incredible. It's called Manhattanhenge, and it all starts tonight when the sun aligns perfectly with Manhattan's street grid. Ashley, do we have any pictures or videos of this? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so let's lose the lower third for a second. You probably have seen pictures like this on social media in previous years. The sun sinking down below the east and west streets, lighting up the streets with a golden glow. The term Manhattanhenge comes from the famed astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. He noticed this unique alignment back in the 90s, I think 1997, and he was inspired by Stonehenge in England, the ancient site where the sun similarly lines up with the stones during the solstices. Well, New York's grid kind of creates its own henge when the sun sets at just the right angle. You can see it right there. This year, the big full sun alignment starts tonight, Wednesday, May 28th, around 8:13 p.m., and then again tomorrow, May 29th, just a minute or two earlier. Then there's also a half-sun alignment, June 12th and 13th, where the sun is just a little off-center, but it still creates this really, really cool lighting effect. So you actually get a nice stretch of time from late May through mid-June to get some version of this Manhattanhenge. You can see it for yourself. Some of the best spots to watch are streets like 14th, 23rd, 34th, 42nd, and 57th. The view from 34th Street is especially popular because the Empire State Building lines up perfectly with the sun setting behind it, making for some iconic Instagrammable photos. Now, if you want to avoid the big crowds but still want to check this out, the Tudor City Overpass has a pretty nice view, a quieter spot, but still gets the job done. If you're outside of Manhattan, maybe on Long Island, in Queens, on Long Island or in Queens, different perspective, the sun setting over the East River and the skyline. What makes this so unique is it isn't just the sun itself, but it's how the city's architecture and street layout create this perfect natural frame. Normally, Manhattan's grid is just kind of a network of roads and skyscrapers, a lot of traffic and a lot of people, but during these few minutes, kind of becomes something pretty magical. Now, there's no official event or party for Manhattanhenge. It's kind of more of an informal tradition. People just show up, they set up the cameras or phones, and they wait for the sun to do its thing. When it does, you can see it right there. Everybody just stops for a minute. So if you're in town tonight or over the next few weeks, maybe head over to one of those streets, get there a little early, get a good spot, and soak in the view. And send us your photos, too, if you have.
We have a huge viewership in New York City.
I hear big fans of the show.
Big fans of the show. I mean, the island of Manhattan from 8 until 10, stand still. All watching Arc Rochester.
Arc Rochester. Who doesn't?
They love it.
Right?
They love it.
Still pretty cool, though, right?
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I remember watching an interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson on this, and he, is just so brilliant. He talks, and you're like, I could never even be a fraction of as smart as you are.
No, I know. The way he makes even the most, scientific theories and terms so palatable for people is truly remarkable.
Yeah.
I think that's what has led to a lot of his success is how personable he is.
And I mean, you know how I am. It's like holidays, right? I love when everybody gets excited about something. I think it's so cool. Everybody just kind of crowding into those areas and taking pictures and,
Well, I think you like this because you just love a party. And while there is no formal party, it's just a reason to party. So you get to party for like 15 straight days. Right?
I didn't think of it like that. It's a good point, though.
It is. It is. Every night, you grab a cocktail, you go out and stand on the streets.
It sounds like that's maybe on your mind, not on mine.
Sounds like that's on your schedule, not on mine. Hey, stick around. When we come back, we're checking in with Chris Lopez, who is learning more about a volunteer group that gives back to the community in a very special way.
Yeah, and don't forget, take us on the go wherever you are. We're streaming live on the 13 Wham YouTube channel and on foxrochester.com. And we're also streaming live on TikTok right now.
We are.
Right? Yikes. All right. Arc Rochester's back after this.
8:17, thanks so much for sticking with us. Food insecurity continues to be a major problem in the Rochester region, with thousands suffering.
Yeah, thankfully, we have many nonprofits and advocacy groups that work hard to help those in need. One of those groups is called Rochester Food Not Bombs. And Chris Lopez is live there this morning showing us what they do and how they do it. Chris?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, we're on Joseph Ave this morning here in downtown Rochester. We are going to be loading up another food stand this morning. I'm here with Grant from Rochester Food Not Bombs, volunteer. No hierarchy. I want to mention that. That's a pretty unique structure that you guys have. But what do we have here? We've been loading up all morning. We were at Cameron Ministries earlier. We were at the Flying Squirrel. We showed off the garden. We showed off another food stand. We're here at another one. We're going to fill up one more. What do we have?
We got oatmeal, applesauce, a bunch of ramen packets. We're looking at some pasta over here in the corner. There's sauce buried on the left there. And of course we have bananas, some of the Lara bars, which are both vegan and gluten-free. And we do our best to have things like that cater to folks who might have, allergies, right?
Dietary restrictions, essentially.
Yeah. Whether it's a religious thing or, gluten allergy can be really bad and intense. So we try to have options that cover everything. And we are a vegan organization, but, if folks donate
milk. We had milk earlier.
We had milk earlier. Yeah, we actually ran into a couple of people before the segment.
Let's take. I don't want to keep you holding this at all. We'll take this over. Now we did that box. Would have been a little bit heavier, actually quite a bit heavier, but we ran into some folks a little bit earlier when we got out of the car, and they came over and got quite a bit of food out of this box here. I believe they took some of that milk, some of the ramen, bananas as well to get potassium in, but that's what it's for. That's the great part about this. But you guys also do, so here are essentially the non-perishables here, but you guys do hot meals as well.
Yeah, we get together twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Starting at 4:30 on Wednesday and 4 on Saturday, to cook a nice hot meal for the community. We usually end up making food for anywhere between 75 and 100 people, and then we take most of that down to RTS, the transit center downtown, and hand it out. We're usually there for only about 40 minutes before we've gone through everything.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. We pulled up here, I think you had been in the car for 4 minutes max.
Oh, if that, yeah.
And you were unloading the box, and then the people came over to you.
Right.
Is that typical? Do you see that a lot here when you go? This is a really high trafficked area here.
Yeah, some of the more high traffic food stands, you do run into folks, they know the stand is here, and so when they see you pulling food out of the car, they know what's going on, and they'll come ask if they can have things. And actually at this stand here on Joseph, I've had people help me unload the car and then take whatever they need for themselves.
And do you guys partner with anyone officially at all? Because you guys are essentially not a nonprofit. You are, pretty much an organization, but there's no hierarchy with you guys.
Right.
Is it all just through word of mouth that, hey, you want to do this? It's almost like friends getting together wanting to help people is what it seems like.
That is pretty much what's going on, Chris. Yeah. We have this attitude of solidarity, not charity, which means we're working in the community as part of the community to help people. And so, when you have a group that's not a nonprofit, that doesn't have a leadership structure, it's hard to say that we have official partnerships. I would shout out Cameron Community Ministries. They do great work feeding almost 200 people every weekday. The Rochester Mutual Aid Network will actually drop some groceries off to folks, which is great. If COVID is still going on, and if you're immunocompromised and don't want to be out in the world, that can be a real lifeline for people. 490 Farmers is one of the largest community gardens in the city and is doing great work in the food sovereignty space, helping people learn how to garden and produce their own food, right? It's not covered in chemicals or anything like that. You grow it yourself. But there's all sorts of organizations doing good work in the city. Eastside Potluck Society is a new organization.
What can individuals do to help you guys out? Someone's watching this, or they know someone that wants to help out, do some advocacy, but they maybe don't want to join you, they just want to help out.
Yeah, well, one of the best things you can do is what we did just now, right? Like fill the food stand up. You can bring stuff like this by. I would recommend avoiding anything that might rot.
I was going to ask you that. Summertime where it's getting a little bit hotter.
Right. So certainly not putting any meat in there. You got to be careful about produce, what's going to survive a few hours in the sun. So going and getting things like this that really can sit out for the better part of a day is the way to go. Right, like fruits like bananas they'll last for a while. Yeah.
Rock Food Not Bombs. I want to address the name here just real quickly. I'm going to send it back to studio on this. Unless you want to take care of this at all shortly. Why is it called Rock Food Not Bombs?
Well, Food Not Bombs. The name comes from the fact that the overall organization was founded almost 50 years ago by anti-nuclear activists. Yeah. Right? They were saying we're spending too much money on weapons, things like nukes, when we have so many people in America that don't have enough to eat. Like we see that here in Rochester too. There's terrible food insecurity, especially amongst our young people.
Yeah, a new study came out. It grew a few years ago by about 10,000 people. There's a study published by FoodLink.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We see that. And, some of the worst months for food insecurity in Rochester are in the summer.
Okay.
Because kids aren't going to school and getting some of the meals
free
that they
meals
get during the rest of the year. Right. And that despite the fact that everyone knows we grow so many apples around here, so many peaches around here. You can go to the public market and get a bag of apples for $5. That's 20 pounds. But it's not working. We waste so much food. It's not going where it needs to go. Yeah. And so that's why we try to do at least our part.
And the price is skyrocketing as well. If someone wants to find out more about you guys, you have a new website. Where can they go?
Yeah, it's rockfnb.org, rocfnb.org. Real easy. You can find links on there both to donate to us, to our social media. Okay. The Instagram is a great way to keep up with what we're doing. And we hope you'll reach out and come join us at a cook.
Yep. Fantastic organization. Cooks out are Wednesdays and Saturdays. Yep. Feel free to drop off food at any one of these boxes around. We'll also have more information on how you can find out more about Rock Food Not Bombs on our website on Fox Rochester. Back to you guys in studio.
All right, Mr. Lopez out there. How fortunate are we that we have so many of these organizations, Chris, that just go around and are charitable organizations constantly giving back in our community? It's truly astounding.
Yeah, it is amazing doing these stories on food insecurity. FoodLink, Rock Food Not Bombs. I've been to a few ministries as well that cook free meals for lunch and stuff like that. Absolutely amazing, Dan.
Yeah,
it is.
Great stuff. All right, Chris, thank you so much. When we come back, we are taking a look at this morning's weather trivia. Mark will be here.
Oh, boy, stick around if you want to see us deal with him.
Welcome back. Mark is here with a look at the rain that we're going to see today, and also we have some weather trivia to talk about.
Weather trivia. Let's follow yesterday's theme. Okay.
Which was nice and warm.
Well, we've got our space ace coming on at 9, right?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So we're talking about layers of the atmosphere.
Yes.
Yesterday, and Steph was, she had it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it took like 34. She's really stewed on it. She really stewed on it.
Well,
no.
then she can come here and I'll just leave.
No.
How about that?
No, she wasn't sure, and
Yeah.
she's like, that one's not the right answer.
Yeah.
And so I kept on pushing. I was like, okay, let's use the process of deduction.
Yeah.
And we went through it and figured it out.
It was
Okay.
good.
All right. Good job.
Well, we
Steph.
have layers of the atmosphere again today. Okay.
Okay.
So this layer, and I said we're bringing our space ace on because this is the layer that satellites may go through. Okay, this is the layer of Earth's atmosphere. It's the outermost layer of the atmosphere. It's generally considered the edge of the atmosphere.
Okay.
Okay, so the choices are, is it the mesosphere, the thermosphere, the exosphere, or the troposphere?
Now, I do want to just point something out.
Yes.
That those satellites are going to, in the very beginning of their life and at the end of their life, they're going through all of those layers.
Yes, on the way up, they have to go through all of the layers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when they fall and burn back to Earth,
Most of them actually don't make it back down to the weather layer. Most of them, the
Burn up
velocity
before
is so
then?
high. Yeah,
Really?
I mean, escape velocity, you're 17,000 plus miles per hour. So even metal and heavier things usually burn up. I mean, we just had that story of the Soviet Union era Venus mission that made it back through because it was titanium. I mean,
we think it did. They say it
right,
did.
right. Parts of it may
Still
have.
haven't seen pictures.
Right, right. So, but those are the choices right there. 9 a.m. We'll have the answer, and then we'll have some interesting info on the Voyager space satellites too.
Stephanie, I know you're over there not paying attention, but look at the question of the day today.
Yeah.
See if you can figure this one out now. We're working on. She's asking if all of them are real.
Yikes.
And Mark will not give a definitive answer.
We cannot confirm or deny that at this time.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
9
a
o'clock.
very NASA answer.
Let's talk about the weather. Has it felt a little cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the past 2 days have been quite nice, though.
Yeah, they've been nice, but we've had 10 straight days now with below normal temperatures, and the month is over 2 degrees colder than normal, and that was after a nice little stretch in the middle of the month. We had temps a little bit above normal, but hey, for the summer lover in you, check this out. We're going the other direction. It's pool weather, it's shorts weather, it's temps back in the mid and upper 80s, maybe, for the first time this season.
That would be awesome.
A little taste of summer air. I was having a conversation yesterday with one of our viewers, said, just leave it the way it is. I like the 60s. I like being able to.
Who was this?
I have some things to say to that.
Yeah. Did we get an address?
I was just in passing. So she was loving the air that we have, 58 degrees. It's a southeast breeze, so we're in pretty good shape there. Those clouds are still at least 25,000 feet above our heads, so that means they're pretty thin in the atmosphere this morning, not capable of carrying rain just yet. With the clouds streaming in from the southwest. But the rain is already breaking this afternoon before we start to feel the effects of that storm system to our south through the mid-Atlantic. Now, if you were in those areas, it is an absolute washout today, D.C. and New York to start off. But you see that rain just kind of creeping north, and by dinner time tonight and this evening, it's going to be right up over the top of us. And Thursday, some good news here. We've got some showers in there initially, but I think much of the day ends up being dry for us. Not only for Thursday, but Friday as well. So something to look forward to there. But the planning forecast today will have us in the upper 60s by lunchtime. Then we're going to go backwards with showers late in the afternoon. And the extended forecast will keep it mild Friday. That warm up, as mentioned, starts next Tuesday. But I will say this, Sunday night, if you're watching, there is some very cold air aloft in the atmosphere. And I would not be surprised at all Sunday night if we did have a few areas of frost in the southern tier. As temperatures drop back to the low 40s near Rochester. I have not taken my tropical plants outside yet because I saw that one day on the forecast, so I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off till next week.
It's just that one day.
Just one day.
Look at the following day. We're back in it
Yep.
at 71.
Yep.
And then the next day, we're just going up.
That's it. Summer's going to punch its way out of the corner as
That's
we
good.
go through next week. Yep.
It's about time.
It is. We haven't had a sustained period of above normal warmth in a while. It's
Yeah.
been quite some time. In fact, we had 7 straight days with a high temperature lower than 60. That ended on May 24th. That was the latest streak of sub-60 highs to in this point in May since 1926.
I think you should make that tomorrow's question.
Ooh, you'd get it.
I'll be clipping this segment and studying it tonight.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been significantly cooler. When I think of the month of June, I always think of it being like really hot, and that's, it's been a little disappointing, but it's fine.
We'll get there.
Yep.
All right, McLean, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, don't go anywhere. Much more to get to this morning on ARC Rochester.
We are back on the other side of the break.
We are less than a month away from the primary election here in New York State, and throughout the morning, we're going to be giving voters a look at the three candidates looking to become the next mayor of Rochester. Now, current Mayor Malik Evans, City Council member Mary Lupian, and businessman Shashi Sinha will face off in next month's Democratic primary. 13 WAM's Lowell Rose sat down with Sinha for a closer look at his plans for the city if he's elected mayor.
I think I'm the best qualified, because right now what's happening is not acceptable.
Shashi Sinha wants to be Rochester's next mayor, an immigrant from India, tech director of a telecom company, and owner of the Darmont House, a luxury accommodation in the city.
Came to U.S. about 28 years ago. Lived in Philly for 11, and now living in Rochester for the last 15. We moved to, my wife dragged me here. She is a professor at RIT, so that's how we ended up here, and now this is home.
Calling Rochester home for over a decade, Sinha says his policies are centered on economic revival. In achieving that goal, one step is addressing crime and working to stop repeat offenders.
We need to bring the crime down. How do we do that? Making people visible on those hot spots where crime is happening. Police needs to be out there. I'm going to put them on those corners where crime is happening. Blue light camera, where community wants it, hot spots, we can put them there.
The next step in Sinha's plan includes building 4,000 homes on vacant lots owned by the city, creating a pathway to home ownership while allowing the city to make a small profit and creating thousands of jobs to help build those homes.
The amount people pay for rent, for that amount, they can own those houses anywhere from $80,000 to $125,000. All of these model houses, innovative ways to building, not traditional way.
Additionally, Sinha wants changes within the Rochester City School District, a plan focused on teaching and student results. Concerned the district has a $1 billion budget, but ranks low compared to other school districts. His plan would involve local universities, aligning the school day with parent work hours, and examining the budget to make sure money is spent on students.
If kids don't get educated, they don't graduate, don't go to college, they will not have good jobs. They will not have as good of a life. It is proven.
The businessman wants to make sure the Flower City is a destination for tourism, bring in big companies, increase the population, and attract a professional sports team. Sinha hopes his vision will resonate with voters in this primary election.
What I'm bringing is big vision and bold plans for economic revival of this city. I want to transform this city for our residents.
Sinha hopes his vision will resonate with voters in this primary election.
That was our Lowell Rose reporting there. Sinha also says he would support a vote on term limits for city elected officials and institute listening sessions on a monthly basis. Coming up in our 9 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Rochester City Council member Mary Lupian and Mayor Malik Evans. Now, tonight's Voice of the Voter debate starts at 8 o'clock. All 3 Democratic mayoral candidates will share their platforms and answer questions from panelists, including 13 WHAM's Matt Malloy. You can watch it live on 13wham.com. Stick around, we've got so much more to come here on ARC Rochester. And don't forget that you can watch us on the go wherever you are by streaming us live on the 13 Web YouTube channel and foxrochester.com. We're back after this.
Because that was weird. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us this morning on ARC Rochester. A lot to get to coming up in the next 20 minutes or so, including this food insecurity continues to be a big problem in our region. And a new study by Feeding America shows it continues to rise.
Yeah, luckily, though, we have a lot of organizations in our area that help you out as much as they can. One of those groups is called Food Not Bombs. Chris Lopez has been live with them all morning long, showing all the work they do to make sure resources are available to those in need. Already stocking the shelves out there. Chris, where are you now?
Yeah, guys, right now we are near the Hudson Ave Fire Station. I'm here with Grant from Food Not Bombs. Yes, we are filling up one of the many stands that they do fill up. I want to ask that question. We've been talking about what you guys do, but when people want to help, do you guys have a list at all of these different food stands? Because we were passing through some food stands. Yeah. There's so many around here. but
Right.
you guys have a list on your website, I believe.
We do. We have a list on the website. You can access that, and it'll pop them up right on Google Maps for you, which is pretty convenient. We do our best to keep it current, but sometimes they get taken down, whether that's by the city or by, if someone moves out of a house where there was a stand and the new owner doesn't want it. And other folks will put them up kind of their own accord. So when we run across them, we try to add them to the map.
Yeah, you
of
can come.
course.
You can come get anything you want here. This is free, and anyone can get this. We're getting an example right now. Hey, gentlemen, we are on live TV this morning, just to let you know. But
Yeah, please, boss, whatever you want.
anyone can get this food at all, right? Right, Grant?
Yeah, that's right. That's for anybody. We're not going to ask any questions about eligibility or anything like that, right? And that's the same thing when we go serve at Transit on Wednesday and Saturday too. Anybody.
And the gratification of doing this. You started this because you essentially very simple. You wanted to help.
Right? Yeah. Yep.
How does it make you feel when someone comes up and says, "Hey, man, I'm hungry. Is that food?"
I mean, it makes you feel good. We like to pretend that we're only doing this for altruistic reasons, and I think that's the main motivator. But at the end of the day, everybody likes to feel needed, right? So there is a level of gratification to doing it and seeing and meeting people in real time that need the help. And we're not the only ones that do this. Like we saw when we got here,
amazing
there was this
here.
box of donated bread that we didn't bring, as far as I'm aware. And we run across this all the time. Other folks that want to help out and have seen the food stands and bring things by.
And Wednesdays and Saturdays, I keep wanting to reiterate that.
Yeah,
you guys do a
appreciate that.
cook. It's fresh food. Where can people, they can go on your Instagram. That's how I found you
the
guys.
Instagram's got that. Yeah, you did. The Instagram pinned right at the top. There's information about the Wednesday cook. We start at 4:30, although, we understand a lot of people don't get out of work till 5, so please come join us after that. Saturday, we start around 4, and then both days we aim to be at RTS around 6:30.
And if someone wants to join you guys, this is pretty inspiring. This is a great morning just hanging with you, but there are many more just like you, all volunteers. How can someone join you guys?
Just show up to cook. You don't need to bring anything with you other than, a willingness to cut vegetables and plate food. There's no application process or anything like that. We welcome everyone to come cook with us. And we will say, take a meal home with you, too. We do this as an act of solidarity, not charity, which means we're participating in the community as part of the community, so everybody eats, us included.
I love that. We were also at Cameron Ministries with a garden as well. You guys are growing food there.
Yeah,
You guys don't have any official partnerships, but like I said, it just seems like friends just wanting to get together and help other friends feed the community. No strings attached. If you want hot food, rich, poor, food insecurity comes in many forms. You could be housed, unhoused. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're happy to work with everybody, right? We're not asking you questions for eligibility if you come up to us at RTS and want something to eat. We're saying, here, take this meal, and do you need another one?
Yeah.
And it is just, friends and community coming together. And all of our connections with other organizations are organic, right? It's because, I'm also on the board at 490 Farmers, and so we have a connection at 490. And if we have somebody that works with a small business that has things they might want to donate, that's where that connection comes from.
Well, thank you so much for hosting us this morning, waking up early, being on TV, bearing with me through the morning. Great organization. They are worldwide as well. Thousands throughout the entire world, all of the Americas, Asia, Australia, you name it. They're doing great work around the world. I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio for now.
Yeah, really incredible work.
Yeah, I love this. Solidarity, not charity, is what he said. That's really good.
All right.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate this.
Hey, much more to come this morning on ARC Rochester. When we come back, we are learning more about some students who are going above and beyond and out of this world.
Yeah, we are back after this. 9 this morning, a group of students at the Harley School are shooting for the stars, helping NASA with some very impressive work.
Yeah, a select group of students were tasked with a special mission. They're here this morning to tell us more about the team ejecting robot. We're joined by the students, Sol Sohn, Charlie Clark, and Henry Winchester. Good morning to you all. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
What a cool opportunity for you guys. Give us a little overview of what it is that you've been doing.
So we were working as part of the NASA Hunch program, which is a national program to help high school students develop hardware and software. So our project was to develop a robot that could land after a lunar lander. It ejects out of it, and it takes pictures of the landing.
What, and is that what you have right here?
Yes, that's the robot. Right there.
It's
Yeah, describe this for us.
it would have a camera in here, and it can drive with these, and we control it using the Wi-Fi, and the computer connects to this thing, and you can drive it on a computer, phone, anything.
We have a custom app that we built. You can use your keyboard for it. You could even plug a game controller, which we've done. You could also use a mobile connection, like use your phone to just connect to that network that this thing is on, and it would just be able to drive with very little latency.
That is really neat. How long did it take
incredible.
you guys to get this to the point where it's at right now?
It was probably about 4 or 5 months of on and off work. We started early in the school year, probably about October. We had, there was a preliminary event at RIT with just people from near the Rochester area, and that was in February of this year.
How many other students came up with similar ideas? Were you all tasked with creating the one thing, and whoever is best is going to get used?
There were multiple other projects. There's stuff in the NASA Hunch program about, of course, design, which we did. There's software. There's also culinary. There's also like medicine. All of that, and even within design, there's multiple other projects. There was something about like basically ejecting a stake on the moon, so you can like just drill down and make sure it stays within there. There were lots of other projects, and globally, there's about 8 teams per project that get selected.
Wow.
We were talking about it before you guys came in, and gosh, what a resume builder this must be. Is this something you guys are interested in pursuing beyond where you're at right now?
Absolutely. This is probably what we're going to be interested in going into college.
Yeah, I
and
had a lot
job.
of fun building this.
Do we have college plans? What year are all of us?
2027.
Sophomores.
You're all sophomores?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have we started to fill out college applications already? And is this number one on the list?
It probably will be
probably
number
will
one
be.
on the list, but we have not filled out our applications yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where do we want to go?
I don't know.
A college?
Some of us are looking at RIT.
Which one
awesome.
Which one has the best NASA connections?
Yeah, right.
I feel like you've already got your foot in the door there. So anybody that you know locally that can write you that letter of recommendation to Buzz Aldrin.
Okay, Dan also is like the biggest space nerd
I'm a
in
bit
the
of a
whole
spa-
world.
yeah.
He's really just looking to get sent into space, and it hopes he has a connection here with you
Yes,
guys.
and if
So,
one of you two could make that happen in the future, we're best friends forever.
Yeah. All right. So, again, congratulations on this. This is awesome. What comes next for you guys as a group, as a team?
I mean, we could always come back next year for NASA if we still have it, and this project is still there.
Yeah,
we
a lot
want to
of
iterate on the
times
physical side of it.
a lot of times they have the same projects year to year. So if they do have this project available next year, we could take the work we already did and build on it to make it even better.
Wow.
Well, and because technology advances at such a rapid pace, there's a likelihood that a lot of the things you've built for this one you won't need next time because the pieces get smaller, the Wi-Fi is faster, all of that, correct?
Right,
Absolutely.
and there's also some stuff that we could reuse or maybe even potentially spin off. We have our own language that the robot and the computer connection speaks, and for that we could iterate on that and potentially even make it its own project.
Did we name it?
It's called the Neuralander, which is a combination of neural, like a
Neural network.
an AI, and lander because it lands.
But it's not like Max or anything?
No.
It's not quite it's not quite a product name.
Okay.
That's why they're going to NASA and you're not. You're like buddy or pal or something like that.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. And gosh, best of luck to you all.
Absolutely. This is very cool. We wish you the most success you can have. And yeah, next year, if you guys have another one, please bring it back. All right.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you.
Time right now is 8:54. Much more to come this morning on ARC Rochester.
We are back right after this.
Much more to come this morning on ARC Rochester as we continue into the 9 o'clock hour. Steph will be here giving us a look at some of the Rochester mayoral candidates as they get ready for the upcoming primary election in our state.
Plus, we'll be chatting with an Army soldier and Geneseo native who's being featured in an episode of a new YouTube Army series.
Yeah, stick around. We're back after this. Wednesday morning. It's 9 o'clock. That was gross. It's May 28th. I'm so sorry. Thank you for joining us on Arc Rochester. I'm Abby Friedman.
And I'm Dan Schreck. Meteorologist Mark McLean with us once again. He'll have a check of the forecast coming up in just a few minutes. But first, we want to turn to Stephanie Joseph at the live desk with your Arc Rochester news break.
Here are some of the top stories that we're following this Wednesday morning. The Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office is investigating after a body was found in the city's Edgerton neighborhood. Police say the man was found just after 11 last night behind a business on Lake Avenue near Driving Park. Investigators are calling it an unattended death, and the victim's identity has not been released. Anyone with information should call 911. A mechanical malfunction may be the reason for a motorcycle crash in Clarkson. Deputies say a 38-year-old man from Holly lost control of the bike just before 7 last night and hit a utility pole. He was taken to the hospital with what we're told are non-life-threatening injuries. A woman is facing charges after an altercation at the Penfield Central School District office. Deputies say 54-year-old Stacy Decker became irate Tuesday morning and allegedly pushed a school employee. She's now charged with harassment and was released with an appearance ticket. Well, it's back to the drawing board for Gananda school leaders after a rejection of the district's budget plan. The superintendent says the new proposal cuts 2 new positions, bringing the budget under the tax levy limit and trimming more than $200,000. A public hearing is set for next Thursday, June 5th, with a revote scheduled for June 17th. Routine COVID-19 vaccinations are no longer recommended for healthy children and pregnant women. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. making that announcement yesterday in a social post. RFK Jr.'s directive is causing concern for some doctors as it came without any scientific evidence to back up the change. A CDC advisory panel is scheduled to meet next month over recommendations for fall vaccinations. It could propose higher risk groups get the shot and lower risk ones have the option to choose. For all these top stories and any updates, be sure to visit 13wham.com. Back to you.
All right, Steph, thank you. Let's get the answer to this morning's weather trivia. Mark is here joining us now to talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, this week's whole theme is going to be layers of the atmosphere. So we talked about yesterday the weather layer of the atmosphere. This time we're going to the outer limits of the atmosphere. And believe it or not, you can actually detect the atmosphere about halfway to the moon. It slowly gets thinner and thinner and thinner. It's not like it ever just kind of cuts off. It goes way out into space. But the layer of the atmosphere, that's the outermost layer. What's the name of that? Is it the mesosphere, the thermosphere, the exosphere, or the troposphere?
Abigail?
I'm not even going to venture a guess. And you know what? The viewers were no help either.
That's A, B, C, and D.
Is that really, Producer Ashley, those are seriously the guesses?
That's seriously
All right.
That's about how I feel right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
You're saying a lot of words. I would like to phone a friend. We have NASA Ambassador Tony Rice.
Is he up yet?
On the Zoom
Oh, he's
screen
over there.
behind
He's
us
on-
right now.
I-
We're going to talk. Tony, I can see you just with your hand. Give
Is
me a
it
clue
A,
here.
B, C,
A-
or D, Tony?
A is mesosphere, B is thermosphere,
He's shaking his head. He's not 100% sure, I think,
C
himself.
is exosphere, and D is troposphere.
1, 2, 3, or 4? We can't hear you.
That's
Just
all right.
use your fingers.
Fine. I'm just teasing. It's fine.
All right, we're teasing.
All right,
I'm not.
Tony. We'll
I need the help.
Okay.
So-
All right. He
Oh,
held
he's
up
saying
three
three.
fingers.
He said 3.
Okay.
He says
Okay.
exosphere.
But very clearly, he is correct,
Well, of
right?
course,
It is
because
the
Tony Rice.
exosphere, and actually, some of the satellites, a lot of them actually are hovering in this layer. They're going around Earth in this layer. Satellites orbit Earth. The drag from the atmosphere is very low. It's not zero, but it is very low in that portion of the atmosphere. And I've met some meteorologists that don't even consider the exosphere as a layer because it's really almost the lack of an atmosphere. But that's a layer that's very important and something we don't spend a lot of time talking about. Obviously, we're down here in the weather layer. But Muddy Paw outlook today. Look at Lily. Look at this
Those
cutie.
are crazy
Lily.
ears. Speaking of satellites, gosh.
Yeah.
She could communicate with it, right? She'll grow into those ears, right? At
Yeah.
some point. Look at that. Look at
I
those beautiful
hope
eyes.
not. Listen, I think things like that make dogs so unique and even more lovable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I just want to like smooch her little
She's a
face.
sweetie. What a sweetie. We love to see your photos too. 13wham.com/chime in. There's a QR code on the screen. We'll put the pics of the pups on the air when we can. Send them on in, and we'll have them on. But let's talk about that muddy paw outlook a little bit. Today we'll have some wet paws late this afternoon, and Thursday morning pre-dawn, if you're out, I think we'll have some showers around. But Friday's looking pretty good. Just a small chance on Saturday, and Sunday also looking pretty good, although cooler as we get into the weekend. We're up to 62, and that cloud deck is lowering. It's down about 3,000 feet from last time we talked, down to 22,000, and that's a sign of the atmosphere increasing in moisture content from the top down. That's how it works in weather. Southeast breeze at 13 miles per hour, and there it is on the HD satellite. The clouds coming in from the southwest to the northeast. So if you're watching from Wayne County, you've got sunshine. If you're watching here in Henrietta, some filmy sunshine, and back to the west, it is cloudy back towards Buffalo. The showers have broken through the New York-Pennsylvania border there, still lifting to the north, and that's out ahead of our parent storm system that's down in the mid-Atlantic, causing a little bit of a washout right now. Parts of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and areas closer to Delaware. Not a great day if you have outdoor plans. The Futurecast shows those showers lifting on in. This will be late this afternoon into this evening. And I think a lot of this will be done with by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. A lot of that activity goes off to the northeast, and by the afternoon, we'll get a few breaks of sun for Thursday, also for Friday, and it looks mainly dry. So decent weather to be outdoors. And if you're thinking about the rain, this is how much we could see, a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch for some spots. A lot of this is going to be north of the Thruway. Notice how those numbers are even closer to 0 south of Rochester, down into the southern tier, maybe a 1/10 of an inch of rain down there. Not enough to be a cause for concern for flooding, but definitely enough to talk about in a weather forecast. Increasing clouds, some late day showers, temps in the 60s today. We'll drop back to the mid 50s tonight. And the 7-day forecast has mild air to end the week on Friday, near 70. Those weekend numbers, it's been a weekend deal lately, right? With cool air and showers, 60s. And next week, you saw that. We're back to near 80 degrees as we head towards the middle of next week.
It's about time.
Yeah.
We have earned it. We deserve it. We've worked hard for it.
Yeah.
A nice little warm up on the way.
And it seems like every single weekend we've had has just been like cold and dreary and kind of a bummer.
It really was. Meteorologist Scott Hetzko was talking about it on Facebook yesterday. Somebody said it seems like it's been raining every single weekend since November. And we did have a rain-free weekend in May. It was a couple of weeks ago where Saturday and Sunday both came in dry. And we'll get there. I mean, it's just a matter of time.
I must have slept through that one because I don't remember it.
I know. It's few and far between, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, McLean, thank you. We appreciate it.
Much more to come this morning on Arc Rochester. When we come back, we're going to talk some space news.
We certainly are. And don't forget, you can watch us on the go wherever you are. We are streaming live right now on the 13 WHAM YouTube channel, as well as foxrochester.com and on TikTok. Arc Rochester returns right after this. 9/11, it's time for some space news here on ARC Rochester. And this morning we want to discuss the 2 Voyager spacecraft.
Yeah, Mark McLean was saying during the commercial break he could talk about this for like the next 50 minutes. So we're going to talk about it quite a bit. We're going to go to our NASA correspondent, Tony Rice, to chat about it. Tony, first of all, thanks for your help with our trivia question. Appreciate that. And second of all, this is really neat.
It absolutely is. And this is a real testament. It's a great example of how these spacecraft just keep going and going and going. And I like to think of it in terms of how much science per dollar we're getting out of these spacecraft. Launched back in the mid-70s.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us, for somebody sitting at home who is unfamiliar with Voyager, because again, they went up in 77.
77, yeah.
Give us a brief history of the venture they've been on.
So they have traveled quite a ways, and they are so far out right now that it literally takes 2 days to get a command up to one of them and back.
Wow.
We think it in terms of one-way light time, and I'm just pulling up the current stats on the NASA website, and the distance from Earth right now for Voyager 1 is 15,466,880,551, and it's ticking up as I do it by tens of miles per second. It's traveling at over 38,000 miles an hour, and it's just amazing how far they've gone. And you might remember back 10, 15 years ago, there was kind of a will they, won't they discussion going on about had these actually left the solar system. And the reason it was such a confusing point was we didn't know where the solar system ended. And that's one of the things that these 2 missions, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, helped us understand. And it literally came when we were able to measure the pressure that other suns were created with their solar winds versus our suns. Once the pressure was greater coming from other suns on the front of the spacecraft versus the back of the spacecraft with our own sun, that's when we knew we passed the heliopause, or that point in the solar system where our sun no longer was the primary source of the solar wind.
Hey, Tony, the spacecraft, both of them are still functioning fairly well at this point, right? What kind of data are they still gleaning for us this far out into space now?
So there's 4 instruments that are active. I'm sorry, 3 instruments that are active on both spacecraft. A cosmic ray subsystem, a low energy charged particle subsystem, a magnetometer, and a plasma wave subsystem. And each one of those are heliophysics instruments. Those are helping us understand the influence that the sun, our own, or now other suns, other stars out there are having in space. The rest of the instruments have been turned off over time. It's pretty amazing that the last instrument that was turned off back in February of this year. And the reason they turn these off is sometimes because they cease to function. I wish I could get my cars to run as long as these things do. But often it's just to save power. They've got just enough power to operate those instruments for a specific period of time, but they've been switched off over the years to save power, so we continue running those additional instruments.
Hey, Tony, so we're talking about radioisotope thermoelectric generators. Is that what we're talking? Dan and Abby are very interested in these types of things. Dan is building one in his basement right now. How much power do we have left? And, we're talking about something that's been continuously operating for almost 50 years now. How much juice do these things have left?
So we think that we can run it another about 10 years, 5 to 10 years. Those RTGs that you mentioned are actually what run every probe that is out past the moon, pretty much. With one exception, we have a probe around Jupiter that I think we talked about a couple of weeks ago that has some massive solar panels that's able to run. But everything else has to run on those RTGs, which are on golf ball to baseball size hunks of plutonium, and it converts the decaying heat off of those plutonium pieces into energy.
Tony, talk to us, if you will, about the golden record on board.
So actually...
Oh, do you have a replica?
Oh, this is great.
I have a replica
here. Look at that.
It's kind of hard to see, but it is an oversized version of the replica of the golden record that's on board. And I actually a couple of years ago got to speak to one of the people that is on the golden record. There's a number of examples of music. There's sound effects that are on there. There are greetings in different languages of the world, and it all happened at Cornell University, where the golden record was put together. And the whole idea is, if there's somebody or something else out there that encounters this spacecraft, this will give them a little bit of sampling of what Earth is like. And there's instructions on the outer case of that record on how to build a record player.
And there's also, isn't there a map with 3 of the largest nearby stars to Earth, trying to, if there is somebody out there that can, capture that? This is where we call home.
There absolutely is, and we picked 3 very important points in space that we're pretty sure, if there's somebody else out there with the level of intelligence to interpret them, they'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Hey, Tony, you still have members at NASA that are there that were part of the original launch and mission back in the 70s. Are there still folks there? And another thing for Western New York residents, this is Bill's country. I understand Voyager 2 had a little communication snafu, and somebody had to execute what's called a shout command for Voyager 2. Is that right?
Yeah. There's still a couple of folks roaming the halls. I've met a few of them, and it's just amazing to meet them and hear the stories that they've put together over the years in their careers at NASA. And these spacecraft do have problems from time to time, and that's really the amazing story here is how well they're able to keep them running. Sometimes it takes the young bucks, the folks that haven't been there as long, to learn some of the older technologies. But one thing that's worth pointing out here on those older technologies is, any of you folks old enough to have a couple of 8-track tape players in your past? Yeah, that's what's the data storage unit for. It's of course not what you had Saturday Night Fever on and plugged into your Dodge Dart as you were rolling down the road, but it is magnetic tape about that size. It's hardened, so it lasts a little bit longer, but that's where all this data is recorded and played back. So it's equally amazing that they continue to run.
Out of everything that you've learned from the information gathered there, what is like the one piece of fun fact that you've learned that just blows your mind?
I keep saying it over and over again, but I'm an engineer by training. So the fact that we've kept this old technology running as long as it has, and the links that the engineers, they really care about these missions. They want to continue gathering the data because they're really one of a kind. There is nothing else out there in that part of the universe that's able to gather this information about stars and about the sun. The fact that they put so much time and energy and effort into keeping them running, and that we're continuing to get data back after all these years. Like you say, these were launched back in 1977.
Well, not only are we getting data, but we have one of the most, if not the most famous photobomb of Earth, or Instagrammable moment of Earth with the pale blue dot. That was captured by Voyager 1, correct?
It was, and that is an amazing image, and it really puts things into perspective. And I think that helped change some hearts and minds back in the day, to be able to look at Earth in that light. Much the way some of the images that we saw from the Apollo astronauts pointing back at Earth. And that's something we have to remind our scientists about is, yes, we're very focused on whatever the primary mission is, what we're looking at, whether we're passing by Jupiter and taking images of the volcanoes on the moons and things like that. We need to remember to turn back and look at Earth and understand our place there.
Absolutely.
Has either one of the satellites is there any way to know if they ever contacted any small debris or something like that out there on any of these passes of these planets that they've had?
Or small alien life?
No alien life. We're keeping our eyes and ears out, but nothing yet. Actually, these spacecraft, and you talked about it a little bit before the break, space isn't empty. These spacecraft are encountering debris, they're encountering plasma, solar wind, things like that throughout their travels. And you're absolutely right that the exosphere, and remember to use your context clues there when Mark's asking you questions. The answer was staring you right in the face. Space isn't empty. So throughout their careers, throughout the mission, both of these Voyager spacecraft have encountered micrometeoroids, very, very small rocks that are out there. And that's the other reason they have to build these things to the hardening standards they do, just to be able to survive.
Are they still
Really?
technically satellites? Because they're not going around Earth.
Yeah.
I would say no. We tend to call these things probes.
Probes.
They're scientific probes. A satellite is anything that's orbiting another body. So the moon is technically a satellite, a natural satellite.
Cool.
Right. Tony Rice, thank you so much. Always a pleasure speaking with you, kind of expanding our knowledge.
The space ace.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
it.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Much more to get to this morning. When we come back, Steph will have your political pulse.
Ark Rochester returns on the other side of the break.
Tonight, the candidates for Rochester mayor will face off in a debate. But first, we're sitting down one-on-one with each of them. Current Mayor Malik Evans is facing challenges from City Council member Mary Lupian and businessman Shashi Sinha. 13 WEM's Matt Malloy spoke with Mary Lupian about her vision for the Flower City.
I believe our city deserves better.
Mary Lupian has served on City Council for 5 years. The educator says she wants to improve the lives of Rochester's youth.
I work in the Rochester City School District with kids K through 8th grade, and the kinds of challenges that they're bringing with them every day, it's heartbreaking, and it doesn't have to be this way.
Her platform is a list of guarantees. Top of that list is expanding Rochester's Guaranteed Basic Income Program, or GBI.
Every pilot that has been implemented, there's hundreds across the country, and including our own in Rochester, has shown very high success rates, that at the end of the period, families are better off, and that they use the money to pay bills, to get a car to transport themselves to work, to get better apartments, better jobs, buy the basics for their children.
Lupian would redirect money from what she calls failed economic development policies to the GBI program. She's also focused on housing and believes the city's current Buy the Block program isn't cost-effective. The initiative builds new, high-quality, single-family homes in underinvested areas of the city.
I want to see us spend our money more efficiently, and there's a concept called a starter home, where it's a very small footprint, but it's meant to be added onto. So as the family grows, as their income grows, they can add on to the house, but it gets them into a homeownership opportunity relatively easy.
When it comes to public safety, Lupien has a three-pronged approach. First, investing in youth programs. She says while car thefts skyrocketed in Rochester, St. Paul, Minnesota saw a 40% drop.
They gave kids Uber rides to school and to mental health appointments. They funded all of the youth sports programs and after-school programs. They even had a youth car theft task force that looked around at social media accounts and saw kids that are likely to be going down that path. Maybe they haven't yet, and intervened with the family.
Lupien also believes there is a role for the Police Accountability Board. She pushed for the Action Team, trained professionals that respond to non-police calls like quality of life or neighbor issues, and worked to create the Person in Crisis Team for mental health calls. Lupien believes her overall vision will help lift people up.
We just need the political will to finally go against the power structure in Rochester and say, no, we're not going to keep putting money in pockets of people who don't need that money. We're going to put it in the pockets of our people. That's how our city thrives.
That was Matt Malloy reporting there. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll hear from incumbent Mayor Malik Evans. And a reminder that tonight's Voice of the Voter debate starts at 8 o'clock. All three Democratic mayoral candidates will share their platforms and answer questions from panelists. You can watch it live on 13wham.com. The Democratic primary election is on Tuesday, June 24th. Stick around, much more to come here on ARC Rochester. We're back after this.
This Wednesday morning. Thanks so much for sticking with us here on ARC Rochester. So an Army soldier and a Geneseo native is striving to help others stay fit and improve their overall well-being through a variety of wellness programs.
So now he's sharing his expertise beyond the base, offering practical wellness tips for everyday life in a new YouTube series.
He certainly is. This morning we are taking a closer look at his journey and how he's making a national impact. For more, we're joined now by Lieutenant Colonel Jason Barber. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Very well, thank you. So talk to us. How did this get started?
Yeah, so we found out over time, being in a 20-year war, that we needed a multifaceted, holistic health system, which includes the mental domain, the nutrition domain, physical, sleep, and spirituality as well. And we decided to wrap all of those things into one and create this system. And, we've launched that through, what's worked for professional and collegiate athletes. It was tried and true in the special forces, and now here it is in all the components, what we call the Army, active duty, National Guard, and Reserve.
I think for so many people, they think of holistic health and they think of like essential oils or something like that. And they're probably thinking to themselves, this seems like nothing that the military would be into. Dive a little deeper, if you don't mind, into what it is exactly that you're focusing on.
Sure. So I would say it's a focus, but at the same time, it's still multifaceted. So if you're really good at fitness, you may need some help with eating right, and all these things intertwine to make our warriors the best that they can be, both on and off the battlefield. That's the most important part of it as well. Decreasing soldier suicide, increasing, effectiveness everywhere that we go, whether it be in the civilian population or over into different countries or what other parts of the world. So when we talk about essential oils, maybe you need that, but we need to make sure that, we're mentally sound, we're morally bound, and we're eating right, and we're doing the right fitness things as well. So
how does the YouTube series come into play here?
Yeah, so the Army's launched an all-you holistic health and fitness series that allows the general population to sort of delve into all of these things that we're pushing out to our soldiers. Gives them a little freebie, if you will. You see me there. I made a little 10-minute video for all those people that unfortunately have to sit at a desk all day, even though you see me at a desk because I borrowed the office, right? So, but it allows us that opportunity to push that out to everyone else in the U.S., which I think is awesome.
Absolutely. And what has been the response so far?
I think it's been positive. I have some neighbors that they're in accounting and they make their entire staff do it. Now they're asking me to do a series, and I tell them that I can certainly put out more videos for them as well. I'm actually helping doing a long-term tour. As a 34-year veteran and still serving, I'm doing a long-term tour to help with the Army Reserve and their holistic health and fitness program as well right now. So.
Do you see this as something that is missing among the younger ranks, those that are just signing up for the armed forces, that this is not kind of at the forefront of, not center of mind for many of them?
For sure. It's recruiting is down. A lot of people that are out there, a lot of the kids that are, in that age to sign up are really not qualified. And I think this gives them the opportunity to not only see the things that they'll experience, but then, as they talk to people, there's over 200 jobs. It's given me I have 4 college degrees paid for by the Army. I've got nothing but love. It's been a great opportunity experience for me, and that's why I continue to share as much as I can and mentor as many people and push this message out to everyone.
And I imagine that this idea of focusing on health and wellness may bring more people to the table saying, this is something I think I might be interested in. I might be interested in enlisting.
We're hoping so, because, in that All You series, both on holistic health and fitness, they'll find the people that have signed up and overcoming those obstacles, which we would put in that mental domain. Even my own kids are of the right age, and I hear them say that they're afraid to go to basic training. I just sort of laugh, because it's a very real thing. But at the same time, it's it's great to serve your country, and there's so many benefits that you get from doing that as well.
Well, I think they're just afraid to go to basic training with their dad. Maybe with somebody else leading the charge, but, you know, they've probably heard a lot from you growing up, and they say, okay, let somebody else take charge at this point.
For sure. It's, you know, I like to say I'm a fun leader. I'm not a very hard-nosed leader, but at the same time, you know, practicing all those different domains, you know, so positive reinforcement's the key, really. So
very important.
Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it, and all that you do. Thank you for your service. We'll put the information for the YouTube channel over on our website as well.
Thank you so much, Abby and Dan. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Hey, stick around. We've got a lot more to come right here on ARC Rochester, including when we come back. We are once again checking in with Stephanie Joseph for this morning's Political Pulse.
And don't forget, take us on the go wherever you are. We're streaming live right now on the 13 WHAM YouTube channel and foxrochester.com. We're back after this.
Spashcock Funk with the real deal today. We are making fatty cracklins. Easily one of the best things you can ever eat. Now, let me tell you about what it is. Basically, it's deep fried pork belly with the skin still on, right? So it gets this crunchy, crispy, fatty deliciousness that just can't be beat. So the first time I had fatty cracklins was a truly religious experience. I was in the great eating city of New Orleans, and I was seeing Foo Fighters that night. I just walked away from seeing Steve Earle at this awesome NOLA Jazz Fest. And I see a line, about 30 people lined up. And I don't know what they're getting, but whatever it looks like, it's gotta be good. So I jump on the line, and this woman next to me turns and she's like, "You ready for some cracklins?" I'm like, "Is that what we're in line for?" And she's like, "Boy, you ain't never had no cracklins?" And I said, "No, I haven't. What's a cracklin?" And she's like, "It is like it got thrown out of heaven and kissed by an angel on the way down." And I finally get to my turn to buy my cracklin. So I say to the guy, "Thanks." He hands me the bag. I'm like, "How much I owe you?" And he goes, "No, that woman took care of it for you." And I just look away. She never even said goodbye. She just walked away and gave. That's what this is. It is a gift. It's a gift for your mouth. It's a gift for life. It is a gift of pork, belly, skin on, fatty cracklin. Now to get this working, this dish is amazing. It takes 2 ingredients besides the oil. The first is the pork belly. Make sure you've got it about 1.5 inches thick. And before we cut it into cubes, take a good knife and score it. Score the skin just a little bit because we don't want that separating on us. Now once you've got it scored up, you are gonna cut it. It's gonna be hard because the skin's tough, into about 1.5 inch cubes. From here, what we're gonna do is you're gonna take some peanut oil, put it into a pan and get your pan to around 225 degrees at that level. We're gonna drop these in for 20 minutes in there, but once you drop it in, give it a stir so they don't stick together. After 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes at 225 degrees, they're gonna look like this nice golden brown, but they're not ready yet, right? What it's doing now is, in that type of heat, it's breaking down and crisping up and softening the skin so we can make that crunchy. So now we let it sit for 20 minutes. So our oil now is up to between 400 and 425 degrees. We're gonna put our beautiful little baby fatty cracklins back in at 400 to 425 for 5 minutes. Come on, little fat boys. Okay, now, the reason why it's called cracklin is because at the top of the skin, it'll start to bubble and crack. That's how it got the name. We wanna create that awesome experience of salt, acid, fat, and heat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this stuff into a bowl and we're just adding 1 ingredient. And what we're adding is chili black lime flake salt from the Syracuse Salt Company. This stuff is all handmade. It is to die for, but the chili and the black lime give us some acid and a little bit of heat that add to all the salty fattiness that's in this, and obviously this has salt too. So we're gonna put a couple of healthy, beautiful sprinkles into this bowl, because I mean, look, we're not getting any healthier by eating this dish. Then we're gonna toss it around just a little bit. Something like the Syracuse Salt Company, something like a local fatty cracklin, something like New Orleans, something like a party. Fatty cracklins, from our house to yours.
Tonight, the candidates for Rochester mayor will face off in a debate, and throughout the morning, we've been hearing from each of them one-on-one to learn more about their campaigns. Current Mayor Malik Evans is facing challenges from City Council member Mary Lupian and businessman Shashi Sinha. This morning, we hear from the incumbent vying for a second term. Here's 13 Wham's Karen Edwards.
My entire administration has been all about the larger community, us, we, the community.
Mayor Malik Evans believes he's the man to continue leading the city of Rochester. The incumbent says he wants to build on his administration's successes.
Our lead pipe program, which is replacing every single lead pipe in the city by 2030, expanding our recreation center hours, our workforce development program. We're very proud of that.
Public safety is a top priority.
I'm very proud of the Office of Violence Prevention, which we launched. I mean, there was no Office of Violence Prevention, and then that we saw a 53% decline in shootings over the years.
Evans says it takes a holistic approach, from making sure young people have more opportunities.
We have more young people working since we've been tracking it in terms of in the history of the city of young people working. We believe that if people are working, they don't turn to violence, they don't turn to despair.
To training and hiring more first responders.
Our approach has been prevention, intervention, and suppression. Now, people may push back a little bit on that, but when you look at the numbers tell the story. And are we where we want to be yet? No, but are we at where we were? Absolutely not.
Evans believes economic empowerment is vital for voters.
We have to make sure that we continue to diversify our economy because of the uncertainty that we're getting at the federal government. That's why it's important to invest in small business. It's important to invest in infrastructure projects, because when people locally spend money, or when people come and come out of the community to spend money, that helps lift our economy and gives us the ability for me to continue to expand mental health services in our centers, to continue to expand our job training programs, to continue to accelerate our work around lead replacement.
If elected to a second term, Evans says he will continue prioritizing public-private partnerships with a focus on affordable housing.
I think you need to look at what we've already done in just 3 years, and I say build, 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 and that is what we're doing. We're at over 3,000 plus affordable housing units in just a little over 3 years, which is unheard of in some other places. You have cities that are twice our size that are trying to get to 5,000 units over a 10-year period, and we've already accelerated that.
Born and raised in Rochester, Evans says his track record and ability to bring people together is invaluable in moving Rochester forward.
Look at our NIA program, Neighborhood in Action program, 46 neighborhood organizations coming together to help uplift our city. That's what you need in a leader, people that can marshal and bring people together to bring about meaningful change. I've done that over the last almost 4 years, and that's what I would do for another 4.
Now, that was our Karen Edwards reporting. You can find our conversations with Mary Lupian and Shashi Sinha on the 13 Wham YouTube channel. Tonight's Voice of the Voter debate starts at 8 o'clock. All 3 Democratic mayoral candidates will share their platforms and answer questions from panelists, including our own Matt Malloy. You can watch it live on 13wham.com. Stay with us. We have so much more to get to on ARC Rochester. We're back after this.
9:48, we are just days away from the start of June, which means Pride Month is right around the corner, and one local drag star has her work cut out for her for the next several months.
Yeah. She has performances. She also has an event at Silo Social May 30th, and then she's performing at Comedy at the Carlson June 5th. For more on her upcoming shows and all that she's doing, we're joined now by the lovely Aggie Doon. Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me on such an early morning.
Yes.
Absolutely. These are not your typical hours, are they?
Well, they are now. We've been doing a lot of brunches because that's a big thing. People like to come out to a drag brunch.
Yeah?
Yeah. Our clientele that comes to a drag brunch, generally, I was going to say women, 30 to 60 years old. You know, I think it's their version of tailgating. They like to come in, get a little day drink on, because, you know, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
It's a great point.
So I've always lived by that. It's your first goal of the day.
Listen, at least on Sundays it should be, right?
On a Sunday.
Absolutely. But that is far from, I mean, that's one thing of, we were talking to Aggie out in the hallway before we came back from break, and you have got a schedule that is packed to the brim.
Whew, I am a busy gal.
Yeah.
I am out and about. Well, it's Pride coming up, so we're booked all over. We have so many things going on. But like you said at the beginning of this piece, is that I've got a show this Friday at the Silo Social, right out there in Greece. It's Dinner and the Divas. It's going to be myself, Darian Lake, Ambrosia Salad. And when I first started doing all these kind of shows in other types of venues, it started out in Greece at the Golden Ponds. Do you remember the Golden Ponds?
I don't.
Yeah, well, it's gone. It's gone.
That's
it
why.
It was an Italian buffet restaurant located behind a Chinese restaurant in a parking lot in a strip plaza in Greece. Oh, it was very fancy. But it was a little
Lots
bit
of chandeliers, I bet.
It sure did, and carpet on the walls. It was fancy. It was so nice. But alas, they did not last. But I'm still here. So we're now doing that dinner show, and that's going to be on Sunday at the Silo Social. And then on next Thursday, I'm going to be doing stand-up at the Comedy at the Carlson.
Look at that. Look at that.
They gave me a shirt. I had to wear
Shameless promotion.
Shameless. It's going to be my one-woman stand-up show, and I've got my friend Todd Youngman. He'll be opening for me, and every lady likes a man at her opening, doesn't she?
What do you talk about in your stand-up show?
Well, things that you can't talk about on the news.
Oh.
But I mostly talk about my life, you know, what's going on in the world. Rochester's got so many opportunities to make fun of. I mean, make comments about.
But to be fair, you could do that in any city, but because Rochester is your city.
That's my city, so it's my
kind of like taking a dig at your own family. You're allowed to do it.
Who is?
Exactly.
So that's my
exactly. That's
because we've got the 4 seasons here in Rochester. We have almost winter, winter, still winter, and construction.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
And they go on forever.
Yeah, they do. I live right there on Park Avenue, and it's a madhouse down there. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this. Maybe I need one more thing to add to my plate. Maybe I should just run for mayor next. I just kept seeing your parts about the mayor.
Yeah.
I could do it.
There's a debate tonight. Do you feel like you want to go and join them over at WXXI?
Do me as a write-in. I'm going to run for mayor. Why not? If I can create all of this, what can I do with the city?
Ooh.
With the budget, you know.
Ooh, there is that. Listen, there is a challenge now. There's a serious
Somebody tell me what I have to do to run for mayor. I'll do it. I can do it.
You do it all, and
do it all.
We're talking out there too. And there's a candle class and a pottery class, or ceramics. I'm sorry, and perfume. You're doing a little bit of everything.
So I think that one of the things that Rochester is really amazing is that we have such a great community. And then we've had a great drag community. And with Pride coming up, it's all about like exposure and being out there, because I feel like we're in like kind of dangerous times politically for our community. And so when you're seen, you feel safe. So my job is to go out and show people like, okay, it's okay here. The drag queens are still out. They're still blooming. So I guess it's safe to go out. So I'm doing shows like at the Sense by Design, where I help you create your own personal fragrance. And then you can either turn it into a shower gel or a body scrub or a candle. Oh, it's so good. And then afterwards, I name it for you. I'm doing that. I've got at Flower City Arts, I'll be teaching a ceramic class. We'll have our ghost moment. You can come in. It's called Clay and Chardonnay. And we're just going to do like the little pottery, and we're going to create probably a lump of clay. But it doesn't really matter. It's about like having a cocktail, having fun, and getting together with the girlfriends. I'm going to be your personal stylist coming up at a Second Look vintage store. So you come in, it's called a sip and shop. Again, liquor might be involved.
Always alcohol involved.
I'm just saying, I look prettier with alcohol.
Aggie, we're running low on time. Where can people go to learn more about you?
Oh my God, you can go to my Instagram or my Facebook. It's just Aggie Dune, A-G-G-Y. Why? Because that's how I spell it. D-U-N-E.
Perfect.
And then it's on there, and you can go to my link tree and any of
But we also gave you a challenge. We both like vanilla scents. What would you name our scents?
You would, well, vanilla. It's a very, I can't say that word on the news,
No.
but it's a very vanilla. Vanilla's your most common fragrance note.
Okay.
Everyone loves vanilla.
Okay.
It makes people think of the holidays. It makes you think of like baking and happy times. So everyone loves vanilla. I would challenge you to reach outside of happy times and say, what is something that emotes more from you?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I would see you having a little more like earthiness to it. I see a little more citrus and bright.
Okay.
Citrus and bright. We'll post Aggie's information for you on foxrochester.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Final thoughts coming up next. All right, final thoughts this morning on ARC Rochester. Fun morning.
Fun morning.
Back.
A lot going on, a lot happening across all platforms everywhere right now. Mayoral debate tonight. You can catch that at 8 o'clock on 13wham.com. That's streaming live. And I think that does it for us here on ARC Rochester. Make sure to wake up with us again tomorrow morning starting at 4:57. Where are we at that point in time?
We're on 13 Wham ABC.
Yes.
You can join Steph and Mark there later today for 13 Wham News at midday.
Bye.